What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is more B-Stream action. This is our last game on this stream, so it's going to be a good one. Maxter versus k1llsen, about to go head-to-head. We have the picks and bans while we wait for the players to ready up, and we'll be jumping in real soon. It's going to be Exile first, Corrupted Keep second, and then Molten Falls if it comes to it. Anarchy versus Ranger for our first map, and that'll be k1llsen on the Anarchy, Ranger for Maxter. And then Maxter Scalebearer, k1llsen Doomslayer for Keep, and then finally Nyx for k1llsen and Maxter on the Athena. Ooh. That is where we go. So Flea, I mean, you and I kind of went straight from that unbelievable close Rafa and Sparty matchup, and we're here now, straight into it. What do you think?
This one is just so difficult to call. I haven't even had the time to really take in all of the picks and bans and get really everything sorted out. Scalebearer on Corrupted Keep is interesting, though. Not something we've seen in a while, I feel like, and especially that last one, Nyx versus Athena. This is a big throw-up when it comes to the champions and the maps. I don't really see either side really outpicking the other here, but yeah, it's k1llsen, and we've seen the shape that k1llsen was in when he took down Waz earlier and when he went up against Razy, bringing it to an extremely close game before dropping down to the lower brackets. And then on the other hand, we've got Maxter, and Maxter so far has lost to Base and has then managed to beat Sip. So simply looking at the shape that the players are in, I would probably favor k1llsen to take this one, but it's not going to be easy.
k1llsen has, regardless of whether this is lower bracket action, displayed impeccable form. It was just that Razy there was just that next level display in the closing moments of the map 3 when they played against each other. Yep. And Maxter, there's no surprises here. There is no unexpected result there. No one certainly will be underestimating him this time round. And he has been able to impress all the way through the stage, but against k1llsen in particular, bit of a run back, this one. And we'll see if the result is different.
Now we're starting it off on k1llsen's point of view. We've seen the Anarchy being played on this map just moments ago. Didn't really work out for Sparty then.
It was the exact same matchup. The Ranger damage was too much to handle.
Now let's see if Maxter can do the same thing that Rafa did. Clearly see how you can, deal with a champion that's just generally faster than you are. Oh, k1llsen, he had such an opportunity there. With Maxter going up the bounce pad, that should have been an easy frag for k1llsen, but he turned away just a moment too soon. Maxter kind of got lucky there, because I really don't think he was aware of k1llsen being positioned on top of the bounce pad, but that's a quick 1-0 for the player from Argentina.
And at the same time, k1llsen had a most favorable spawn. He was right on heavy, had some decent weapons to push forward with. Now that rocket is going to give Maxter information. Done deal down there. As we now wait for Rail to appear. Not a lot of LG ammo left to go, but as long as those rails hit their mark, I don't quite think he was fully ready for Maxter to fall down there. But it doesn't matter because he picks up the frag once more. Both of these items are up. Is there a reality where k1llsen can somehow pressure at least for both of them? I think Maxter, he is there eventually. Goes in for the teleport. I love that orb choice. That was one of the safest approaches he could have made.
I think Maxter just realized that, oh, hang on, Mega is still up. That's suspicious, right? It shouldn't be free for me. And so he just threw out that orb to make sure that he was prepared for k1llsen just barging in at any moment, and that's exactly what happened. So really clever play to secure himself the Mega without taking much damage at all. And now it's actually Maxter doing most of the pain. I don't think Maxter had the exact timing on heavy from the previous rotation, otherwise he absolutely could have established full control, but regardless, he's doing a good amount of damage and is in a position where he can pressure k1llsen quite safely as well.
And the damage alone is keeping k1llsen from being too confident. At this stack, even this most single of rails puts you in a position kind of like that, where now k1llsen has that high ground, but he has to show a lot of respect to Maxter and the potential for him to advance. That orb is ready. That's a lot of verticality, not even counting the rocket jumps, which we have seen plenty of today. k1llsen with the drop down, keeps himself safe for now. Mega is that next objective. Both players are going to have timing on it at the very least. If k1llsen can get any damage here, it's going to be a great start, but that heavy ain't up for a good 12 seconds now. And they disengage. k1llsen keeping his lead, but for now, what's it going to be? The teleport in. the defensive rockets keeping maxter at bay. Flea, this is a back and forth and a half.
It absolutely is. Neither player really managing to establish full control. It's maxter who's picking up most of the items, but k1llsen's defensive damage has just ensured that he hasn't been overrun just yet. And again, maxter will take away the Mega, but there we go, once more the rail, completely depleting any armor that he had left. And now it's actually k1llsen who's set up quite nicely to make a move on the heavy.
And already we can see k1llsen with the same idea. We established ourselves on the item. Ooh, looks for a rail. That would have been a dangerous rail for maxter to get hit by. But there has been a patient exchange the last minute or so, right? We're listening for that information. In this case, k1llsen has full control over the entire map and an injection, so Anarchy couldn't possibly get more stacked than he currently is. And there's a bit of opening damage. Nothing that k1llsen can return for now, but I think that stack difference is going to mean a great deal. That injection is still good to go, but can he get maxter before it spawns? A nice little flick from the super shotgun. And then that's the perfect little two-piece.
Good
nice
read of
little
the
spawn to catch him on two.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Good push from k1llsen right there. Just in time for Mega, and he's punishing with these rails. This is looking solid. Neither player hitting spectacularly high amounts of railgun right now, 38% for k1llsen versus 27 by maxter, but it's the shots when they're landed that often counts more than how many you manage to put out. There we go, just in time. Maxter nearly took down his opponent right there, but the shotgun into the injection is keeping k1llsen ready to take these fights again. Really good reads, but not quite able to put out the consistent damage that we saw against Waz earlier.
Wonderful call out on the bounce pad though, and that will in fact be another frag for k1llsen. Not just that, but a Mega and a light, so he's nice and healthy to pressure off the next spawn, of which he gets an opening rail. LG pushing through. maxter can't even deny the heavy as we now enter that 5-minute warning. That is going to be k1llsen giving himself one hell of an advantage. Lands on him once again. And I just think that this is always that moment that people dread when you're horrifically out of control. The damage is being just so severe. k1llsen has all the pieces in play to win this first map now.
Indeed he does, and he is not letting off with those beautiful railgun shots just yet. Look at his insight, his knowledge as well, Ketchup constantly being so aware of where maxter is and forcing his opponent to use the orb just to stay alive. That would have been a guaranteed kill for k1llsen. And he forced maxter to burn that precious, that valuable ability, putting him now in a really bad spot because maxter has nothing to just instantly retaliate with. And that is allowing the German a lot of momentum right now.
k1llsen's not quite able to hit these rails actually, but he does manage to hit the one that counts. That's the one that he needed most, just to ensure the control over the map continues. And from this position, maxter has a pretty tough mountain to climb. At this stage, it's unlikely that he even has time to pull off a comeback, because at this point, k1llsen is going to have the stack. At least the one right now. Injections all the way through will certainly make things a lot harder. I just think that k1llsen has created too much of a gap here. There we go, another one.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really see any way for maxter to get back into this one realistically. Exile is a map where you can play very defensively on. And we saw that earlier as well, right? We've seen Sorlegs on this map just really just run circles around their opponent, stay away. I think it was the Hang who showed a masterclass of playing a defensive Sorleg on this earlier. Don't remember exactly who he was playing against, but it was beautiful to watch. And of course, k1llsen can do the exact same thing with the air control he's awarded with by playing Anarchy. So even if maxter gets control back, which seems unlikely at best, there's nothing he can really do but aimlessly try and chase behind an opponent that's so much more fast and nimble than he is.
And I feel like this is one of those cases that for the remaining 2.5 minutes, there's not much left here to break down, because it's likely to just be a repeat of what we've seen already. k1llsen is going to continue to cycle around maxter, doing what he can fresh off the spawn, but k1llsen's pressure is just too extreme, and the damage certainly doesn't help maxter to survive. And it feels like I've been watching this through Max's point of view for the last couple of minutes. Every time he spawns, there is a rail in his future. and then there's just not much he can do to keep himself afloat. k1llsen's most dominant maps today have come from masterfully influencing the spawn and just always keeping an advantage when this spawn happens.
I think that's also just something that has kind of really started to play an important part in the maps that he chooses. He knows that he is extremely good at delivering that spawn damage, at forcing his opponents into uncomfortable positions when he gets the advantage going. And there's several maps, like say Corrupted Keep, like Deep Embrace, like Exile, where you can really leverage that to an extreme extent. So it only makes sense for k1llsen to prioritize playing on these arenas as well.
maxter's going to just go through the rest of this map the same way. I think if he can get any kind of bonus frags here, just to keep that execution nice and warmed up, then I guess that's going to be better than nothing. But the reality is this will be a 1-0 for k1llsen. And as this is elimination territory, that 1-0 feels pretty good, but the job isn't done. maxter, Death's Door. This should be 17.
Yeah, this is over and done. It has been that way for a significant amount of time by now. But of course, neither one of these players is just going to go AFK and wait it out. They're going to continue playing this till the very last second. maxter kind of wants to build at least a little bit of momentum at this point, get maybe 1 or 2 frags, and that's a beautiful one to get started with. And now maybe he can just kind of get a feel for that momentum, for that rhythm, right? If you can land a few railgun shots now and feel better about your aim, that can really factor into how you approach the next map. So this is really just maxter rebuilding some of that confidence.
Whoa! That is as point blank as a point blank rocket gets. And during these closing few seconds, let's kind of refresh everyone on the picks and bans. It'll be Corrupted Keep as our next map, Molten Falls after that. Matchup wise, we're looking at Scalebearer versus Doomslayer on the Keep, and that is where things get a little bit interesting. Like you said, we don't see a lot of Scalebearer on this map. And then Molten Falls is our final pick, Nyx versus Athena, should it come to that. I know I've got my glasses on right now, sorry, I was reading the screen. I cannot read that other monitor without my glasses on. But one-sided exchange from k1llsen. It was kind of close at the very beginning, but quickly did it spiral out of control for maxter, where he kind of just lost a grip on the entire map. k1llsen had every item, k1llsen was hitting every single shot, and from that point you think, what do you do?
Indeed, there just came a tipping point where the k1llsen boulder just kept rolling faster and faster, and maxter had nothing in his arsenal to put an end to it. But like you said, in those opening few minutes, it was actually a very close game, and maxter managed to keep it remarkably competitive and tight for quite some time. So clearly, he has got what it takes. Now he just needs to find the endurance to push it through all the way to the end. Now the second map is going to be Corrupted Keep, where maxter is once again going to have a bit of a stack advantage, as he is going to be running the Scalebearer versus k1llsen on the Doomslayer.
Interesting to see how the Scalebearer will fare here, because one of my first thoughts could be, on paper alone, the Doomslayer's double jump across maybe the middle point of that map, a lot of high ground control if you're doing quite well. The double jump might be pretty decent at dealing with the Scalebearer in positions where you expect to see him the most. The bull rush near the Mega, for example, a bit cluttered. You can be a little bit clumsy there sometimes, where you bump into a lot of stuff, for lack of a better term. But at the same time, I haven't really seen this champion used much on this map even now, which is kind of weird to say, considering he's so popular. But hey, look, there might be an element of surprise here, where if he backs against the wall, one map down, not bad.
Indeed, I think there's just a few parts where it's a little awkward to keep that speed going when you're Scalebearer, right? When you've got teleporters to work with and there's bounce pads in and around the map, those are things that can easily kind of throw you off your speed and your momentum that you want to rely on so much as Scalebearer. So that's probably one of the reasons why we haven't seen scale picked all that much on this map. But again, maybe maxter can prove us wrong. We are loading into it just now. In a few seconds we're going to kick it up. Just a reminder, if maxter loses this map, he will be out of the tournament. So let's see how he fares against k1llsen once more.
k1llsen putting on a little bit of that initial range damage just to kind of knock out some of that stack. Nothing to really matter, but the important thing is taking these items at the very beginning, of which k1llsen only has LG, realistically. maxter might be trying to keep him at arm's reach. Yo, that quick little turnaround, that cheeky little Scalebearer maneuver, I like that. takes k1llsen by surprise, but there's plenty of the map to dip back into, and I think they might be trading item for item.
Oh.
Yeah, maxter. We are going to have a delay on the heavy then because of that. Just a little one.
Yeah, indeed, they do end up trading, but maxter still trying to pressure his opponent a little bit, hoping to do at least some damage with that heavy machine gun on the exit. And look at how slow they are approaching this. Both players just sitting on their side of the map. There we go. k1llsen is the first one to catch a glimpse of his opponent, and he makes it worth his while. 75 points of damage with a quick burst of heavy machine gun. Nearly catches his opponent there as well. Oh, I love how maxter is just running around. I was still on his perspective. He turns the corner, he sees k1llsen, and he just like turns a 180, immediately leaves once again. Wants nothing to do with these engagements on k1llsen's terms, but is waiting for the perfect opportunity of his own.
At the same time, k1llsen brings himself back up to a nice amount of armor. Whoa. There's that combo from maxter! I think everyone lost track of him right there as he flies headfirst into it. They are going to trade item for item, but as maxter keeps all the weapons, this is a little bit scary for k1llsen. He pushes in with the SSG, but he now needs to be able to get out with this LG in hand without having to deal too much damage in return. I feel like now he's in trouble. He drops. Maxter secures a frag here. And k1llsen, I think knowing he's going to spawn near SSG, looking to maybe refrag quite early.
Very reserved playstyle from maxter now. Just waiting for the mega, which he knows he's got the exact timing for, so he can instantly just drop in and ride back out. And he should be able to get a pretty good estimate on the heavy as well. Seeing how brazenly k1llsen just went through the teleporter should give him a very good idea of when the heavy was picked up. So this is looking pretty good for the Argentinian. But k1llsen is on the prowl. Slow plays by both of them. Beautiful use of the double jump. This should be a frag for the German. Yeah, he will eventually find the rockets to take down his opponent, but it was a little iffy for a moment there, Ketchup.
Now that is a nice use of the bull rush. You catch me off spawn, I don't care. I'm going to pop that damage reduction. I'm going to take Mega for good measure. And actually, off the back of that, he's able to punish and score a frag of his own. Now, he does try and at least take away the heavy. k1llsen doing the right thing and shutting it down. And I think that he should be on track to make this a 3-3. That bull rush, when it is and isn't available, I think it's going to be a night and day difference on a map like this.
Oh, they both just meet face to face at the teleporter exit, and maxter gets the worst of it for sure. k1llsen wants more patience, doesn't want to overextend. He knows what one bad bull rush can accomplish even when maxter is low, so instead he prioritizes the heavy. And I think he actually saw maxter's head sticking out over the stairwell, yeah. Giving him all the information that he needed.
Looking at maxter crouched down there to try really hard to keep himself hidden. I don't know why that tickled me, but it certainly did. And hang on, k1llsen. The battle for heavy has taken place now. Maxter didn't quite drop down, but he's still super weak. Only a little bit. The turnaround! Man just ran into you. No bull rush needed.
Super Shoddy comes out to play maxter. He cannot push through. One bullet will spell his demise. And so he just waits patiently, bides his time. It's pretty remarkable how neither player has actually managed to get much control at all. k1llsen is the one who's been picking up most of the items, but it's been stunted. Maxter is always able to at least do a good amount of damage to prevent that full momentum from coming into fruition. But that might change now. Ketchup, this is a critical point in the map. k1llsen picking up heavy just after killing maxter. Now in place for Mega as well. His opponent gets the item, but he should be able to walk away with the frag. Oh, maxter's got in such a bad position, but k1llsen very generous right there from the German. Just not pressuring straight away. Oh. Careful about the precarious lead that he has.
Yeah, going in for the berserk right there. A little bit risky for sure, because by doing so... Oh, never mind. Maxter turns around, and he actually does pretty much as much damage as he possibly could. I think there are many situations where most people would not have been able to squeeze out as much as maxter did there, and k1llsen having to kind of semi-recover from that. Maxter able to pick up an item, giving himself a nice amount of HP, but this is that point where k1llsen is slowly but surely trickling that lead ahead, and that's what you get worried about. It happened on Exile, and the moment it did, maxter just could not get that one up. Now we retreat. There's plenty of light health to take, and even more so around here. Mega will be that next objective. Maxter using that heavy to try and secure it. The push in, a little bit of self-damage from k1llsen in that rocket fight. He's going to have to concede this item, but can he survive? That is the question.
Maxter is now carrying the fate of South America on his shoulders. Already lost a Nosfa in the lower bracket, so it's all up to him right now to continue this excellent streak that we've seen these players put up in the past few weeks. And he has gotten himself a pretty formidable amount of stack to work with. Plenty of time as well. Doesn't have to rush anything, can just easily take away the Mega. And I think he caught a side of k1llsen. Oh, for a moment there I thought he was going to leave Mega up and just go in straight for the assault.
I'm liking this approach from k1llsen though. The fact that he's staying so ranged heavy, the reality is he knows exactly who he's up against. He doesn't want to put Scalebearer into a position where this happens, because the second Scalebearer gets close, it is difficult to challenge. Now maxter steals away the heavy at the very least, and that might set up for a little bit more down the line. The divide between is so narrow, but somehow maxter takes a fair old while to go down. He does good damage to maybe refrag this. Maxter picks up the Mega as well. This is far from over.
Now heavy will be
loving
the
how
next.
heavy the next play, man. Flea.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not just this fight, it's the next fight.
Now heavy will be taken by Maxter. I don't think k1llsen has a good idea of when the item spawned, because he was looking over on the other side. He was a little surprised to see that Maxter was already over at heavy, I think. And now the German has got no armor to work with at all, and Maxter is going to exploit that relentlessly just before picking up Mega. And now there is a perfect split between the items, catch up 15 seconds, and that is going to hugely favor Maxter, who does decide to back off right there. I would have expected him to apply more pressure in that situation, given how close of a game this is and how we are nearing the end.
Now, this is not the part of the map where k1llsen was even able to think about taking his foot off the gas, or maybe shifting gears is a more appropriate statement, because there is so much time for Maxter to still pick something up here. If Maxter controls this entire map, then k1llsen's in big trouble, and he knows it. Has had some impressive rocket damage on defense, does k1llsen, but not enough to comfortably try and refag and go in for even more stuff here. There's the rockets they trade back and forth. 1.5 minutes left to go. Heavy picked up by maxter, and maxter has lots of pieces in place. Here comes the ball rush, but it runs out. k1llsen's defensive play, so good there, Flea.
Rockets from below won't connect this time. That's a shame for Maxter, and now he's got to chase down his opponent with 1 minute left on the clock. Catch-up is still going to be tricky. Oh, I love how k1llsen's playing this. He's just sitting himself up on top of that perch. Really just not making a move. And that LG, that is brutal. That is a slaughter. 2 frags up with 1 minute left to go. All the pressure falls on Maxter right now. What can he do?
There's not much left to do because these rockets are doing so much damage. Maxter drops yet again. k1llsen with 3 frags in the lead. And Maxter, this is that final chance. He's going to push in now because it's all he can do, but this is where k1llsen might be able to start playing a little bit more defensive. Just keep Maxter in this bad position, do some damage and retreat. Now defensive rockets of high damage will be really annoying to deal with. Not that he even needs it. There's the ball rush and Maxter falls. That will be the series win for k1llsen, but Maxter made it so close every step of the way. I mean, I've got to give Maxter his props for turning up and playing his heart out the way he did. k1llsen is going in fully motivated, and I think the lower bracket pressure is not going to phase him. k1llsen's going to take this series win.
Absolutely going to agree with you there. k1llsen looking supremely powerful. Maxter, he had a pretty solid run. At least he managed to take down base earlier down in the lower brackets, but k1llsen just proved to be a bridge too far for him. I think it's a bit of a disappointing end for Maxter himself. Yes, he got some wins in the finals, but ultimately, this is a player who I believe was seeded third in all of the Americas going into the finals. So watching him drop down to the lowers this early and losing a spot, that's always a bit of a shame. However, as we already discussed, there are no players left in the upper bracket from the Americas, if I'm not mistaken. And even Rafa has dropped down already. So this is kind of unsurprising as well. Well played, Maxter. He put up a really good effort, but k1llsen just proved to be a little too strong in the end.
And just like that, folks, this is the final match that we've had on the B stream here. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. These extra games have been great to watch. Everyone has a story, and every win means so much to every one of the players. So I'm glad we can get them all on stream and check them out. Thanks for supporting your favorite players. Thanks for supporting the stream. We'll go jump over onto twitch.tv/Quake, the main stream where the final set of matches for tonight will be finishing up. So my name is Ketchup, joined by Flea and everyone else that's been commentating tonight. Shout outs to everyone involved, and we'll see you on the main stream. Much love. Peace out and take care.